Step Care Solutions is revolutionizing mental health care with diplomatic disruption. By inspiring organizations to rethink mental health engagement, diplomatic disruption challenges traditional views and leads to brighter solutions. Through a synergistic approach, Step Care Solutions aims to create a better future for mental health care that works for everyone. Join the conversation and be part of the solution.
I think it is a wonderful term. I love the idea of diplomacy. Diplomacy for me means trying to find a win-win situation for all parties. The disruption is that recognition that we need to do things differently. And it
Is
means
it discomfort too?
Absolutely, but you've got to be able to get past it to be able to make that shift.
And I think that diplomacy helps with the discomfort of the disruption. It enables people to deal with some of the discomfort because it's done in a diplomatic way. So it's a bit of the win-win, but it's also recognizing the contextual limitations of people who deliver mental health systems.
Being introduced to that flexibility, if I could remember correctly, was a little bit challenging for me. Just because I was very much trained in a very rigid understanding of mental health and what this looks like, and this is, the steps and the procedures. And so to have it really be collaborative was something very different.
I don't think there was a single day that went by where it didn't felt like I was uncomfortably but necessarily challenged and towards that growth. And that humbling, that humility, that is necessary, I think, for our field, because we are holding people in their healing journey. And if we can't be challenged and making sure that we're held accountable, there's no way that we can actually be a safe place.
Is diplomatic disruption something that has to be always part of that work?
Yes. Yes.
Because it is disruptive.
Yes.
Very
with a
disruptive.
client, with a supervisor, with an administrator, with a community partner at all different levels. So for me, the process of working synergistically, which is our approach of seeing the connection between the different systems that we have. So administrators may not see things from a clinical or admin's perspective, but when you're taking a synergistic perspective, you're seeing connections between those systems. And at each different level, the macro, the meso, the micro, you are operating with diplomatic disruption, as well as being able to see it from different lenses. So you can begin to say, have I thought about truth and reconciliation at an administrative level? Have I thought about that from an admin perspective?
And they perform a vital function.
Yes!
They're as important to the system as the therapist in the background.
Absolutely.
That everybody
Totally.
plays a part.
And a lot of it is empowerment, is getting people to feel like they own that. It's something that's going to come from them. They're going to be part of the process. They're going to be part of coming up with an innovative solution. They can also share in the kind of recognition or success, and so when it works well, they're going to be the people who you're going to give credit to. And when it doesn't work well, you're going to work through that with them and say, look, how do we continue to make this, even better?
It was also really helpful in working with faculty and staff to help them start thinking differently about mental health. It's not just the work of a mental health provider to take care of and attend to mental health. It's also the work of the whole community.
My supervisors were also very encouraging of my own autonomy as a clinician and what that meant for me in deciding what modality I wanted to work from, how I wanted to approach therapy, how I wanted to engage with my clients, just really, really, really helping me to get away from this space of rigidity and just moving to more flexibility and more openness when it came to client work.
It was exhausting at first to have to go into those spaces and be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna go in this and I'm gonna really think creatively. But I mean, after I was able to get through that initial endurance building, that creativity, that investment in energy and time actually saved a lot of energy and time in the long run, including what could feel like moral or ethical obligations of meeting a whole community, because they all wanted to come in all at the same time. And trying to meet all of that, it was too much weight on the shoulders, and frankly too centering of individual therapy as being the only way to that path of healing.
When have you had that opportunity to develop the skill of having an independent thought, of being able to critique and question, and then to be able to align that with your actions, your behaviors, your outlook, in order to be able to present authentically to, let's say, a person in front of you? That there has to be something that can give that sense of hope, because if many of the clinicians are just being trained to do it according to Freud or Rogers, then what that means is they're just mimicking or they're just acting, but then they're not involved in any way in that healing process or journey that they're trying to instill.
So disruption can be enticing, exciting, but it can also be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then we have to put it into practice.
Yes.
And
That's where the hard part is.
Yes, it is hard, but I need to be able to make that shift.
And I think the diplomacy helps with the discomfort of the disruption. And so I think of the diplomacy as a readiness tool, is that if I go in with, all engines firing on the disruption, it's not recognizing where people are at. And I'm talking about it as a systems level and as a consultant, that if it's so disruptive that it doesn't apply to them because they can't do it. They look at it and go, it's too much. Then nothing is going to happen. But if I exercise some diplomacy, and by that I'm taking into consideration their state of readiness, their contextual limitations, if I take those into account, then we can move a bit on the disruption.
They were amazing at really being able to kind of just ground me in my own kind of new chaos of mental health and how to navigate this system and what do clients need and what do they want. And so really helping me to get outside of my head and not engage in more work than I needed to, and really be able to give the client more autonomy.
We needed to build a relationship as a team and learn our strengths and challenges, the things that we're interested in, the things that we're not good at, the things that come naturally to us, and the other things that we need to work a little bit harder on. And then having hard conversations about how do we understand the relationship to stepped care with equity and inclusion, identity, and truly meeting people's needs from an individual standpoint as opposed to doing what it is that we're comfortable with.
Step care helped me learn to decenter myself. It helped me learn to decenter one-on-one therapy. It helped me learn to expand to a community, to a collective, and to make sure that the dependency is not fostered. Agency is, empowerment is, the ability to articulate is, to have self-awareness and know how to use that. That was really useful for the step care approach.
Together, we bring diverse perspectives in, not to check a box,
There you go, that's
but
it.
to solve problems together. Because
Yes.
one set of eyes or one person is not
Yes.
going to solve these problems. We need all of humanity in there, and all of the different cultural approaches will get us closer.
Diplomatic disruption requires empathy, sensitivity, and a commitment to navigating conflicting interests to bring about positive change. In our next video, we discuss the role you can play when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion in mental health care.